Don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the International Boxing Organization's Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing the three judges to you at ringside. First of all, from Cape Town in South Africa, Mr. Isaac Chabalala. Then from Chicago, Illinois in the United States, Mr. Pete Podgorski. And then from Highlands Beach in Florida, also in the United States, Mr. Mark Streisand. Our fight commissioner from the IBO is Mr. Len Hunt from Johannesburg, South Africa. And the third man in the ring when that opening bell goes from Bishu in South Africa, Mr. Lulama Mtia. Introducing the challenger to you, he fights out of the red corner on my left. He weighed in at 65.55 kilograms. A veteran of 42 wins, just 6 losses and a single draw. 26 of those 42 wins coming within the distance. He boxes in the black trunks with white trim. He's the 2003 WBO Latino champion, former WBA Fede Latin and WBC Latino welterweight champion. Please welcome from Rosario in Argentina, Sebastian, the Iron Man, Lujan. Out of the blue corner on my right, he weighed in at 65.20 kilograms. As a professional, 17 wins with a single loss and a single draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. He boxes in the camouflage trunks. He hails from Meerton in Gauteng, South Africa's Prospect of the Year for 2007, the WBC Africa Welterweight Champion, the ABU and South Africa Welterweight Champion. He is undefeated on home soil, and he is the IBO Welterweight Champion of the World, Chris van Heerden.
Boxers. Boxers. Gentlemen, now the time has come for us to remember what we have spoken about in our respective dressing rooms. We're doing this together. Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
Well, there we have it, the main fight of the night. We've had a brilliant evening so far. Chris the Heat van Heerden defending his IBO welterweight title of the 12 scheduled rounds against Sebastian Lujan from Argentina. Sebastian Lujan has had 42 fights, 46 fights at least, 42 wins. Against Chris van Heerden's 19 fights and had just a single loss.
Yeah, Chris van Heerden looking in tremendous condition here, Brian. We saw in his last fight when he was winning this title against Kaiser Mabuza, a bruising fight, very, very intense fight. But he came through and he proved that he is a champion. And let's see what he can do against this veteran of 49 fights, Sebastian Lujan, all the way from Argentina.
Yeah, Chris the Heat van Heerden, you can see, Peter, he's in tremendous physical shape. You can just see by the body. There he starts banging the body of Lujan.
Yeah, he's working that body, Brian.
Banging that body is Chris van Heerden. Fighting out of the southpaw stance. Banging the right uppercut to the short rib.
Yeah, one thing you can say about Chris, Brian, is that now he loves his gym. He loves his training, Brian. He spends most of his time training. And he knows what this game is all about. It's about being fit. You know it yourself, Brian. I remember when I was interviewing you when you were still world champion, you told me that you eat, you sleep, and you drink boxing.
Absolutely, Peter. I think the only people that make it really to the top of the game is the people that eat, sleep, and drink it. And Chris van Heerden, we know, is one of those guys. Of course, a great fighter like Floyd Mayweather. They call him a gym rat because he loves the gym. And that's, I would say, the same thing about Chris van Heerden.
Lujan is doing exactly what we expected him to do. He's coming forward all the time. He's throwing lots and lots of punches. That's how he knows how to fight. He doesn't know any other way, Brian. So Chris van Heerden will... But Chris has been here before. He's been under pressure. He knows how to fight under pressure.
Yeah, the right way for Lujan to fight, Lujan, at least you pronounce it, is to come forward because he's the shorter of the two opponents and to put pressure. But Chris van Heerden, the Heat van Heerden, he's putting on the pressure right now.
You can see he's a very, very confident boss as he
Good
catches.
left hand. Big left and right hand from van Heerden.
And Lujan says that was nothing. I didn't feel it. But we know, Brian, when boxers do that, normally they really felt the punch.
Yeah, normally when guys start clowning, Peter, you know that you've actually hurt them. So that doesn't help clowning in the fight game. If a guy clowns in front of you, you just take advantage of it.
Chris van Heerden, the taller of the two boxers, Brian, and he's using his reach advantage to full effect. You can see he's keeping his opponent right at the end of his punches. And Lujan really is finding it difficult to close the gap. And obviously that round definitely going to Chris van Heerden.
Yeah, good opening round from the IBO welterweight world champion, Chris van Heerden.
Round number 2, and if you just joined us, my name is Peter Lopeng, and I'm with the legendary Brian Mitchell, and you're watching the world of champions super sport. And this is the IBO welterweight title fight between the champion Chris van Heerden against Sebastian Lujan in the black trunks. Chris van Heerden, of course, the tall of the two boxers, the champion in South African, and he's wearing the camouflage trunks. And he's defending his title for the first time against this experienced Argentinian.
And of course, Lujan should be doing what Chris van Heerden's doing, should be piling on the pressure and going forward. But obviously, Chris is not allowing it. You can only be as good as your opponent allows you to. And van Heerden is coming forward.
Yeah,
we've had a great evening.
Allowing him really to do what he wants to do.
The cruiserweight competition's been great so far. Donny Fenter, we saw, went through with Daniel Bruvier. And of course, he'll fight Johnny Miller. Tabiso and Chuni will fight Zach Makwasa. But back to the action here. Chris, the Heat van Heerden, bombing the body, and he's enjoying himself out there. You can see when a fighter is in good condition, Peter, is when he enjoys himself in a world title fight.
He is, Brian, and remember also during the pre-fight weigh-in, he really paid tribute to his trainer, Peter Smith. He said he's had a tremendous camp. It went very, very well for him. He's ready for the fight. So Peter Smith really is a trainer. And he says, gave him credit, and he said he's coming up very, very good. And as he's doing right now, you can see using that right jab of his, because Chris is a southpaw, and that right hand is waking up for him.
Yeah, great work from Chris as he bombs those uppercuts to the body. Lujan is going to have to up his game. He's getting outsmarted, outpunched, outboxed. And he's getting beaten in every department so far. Oh, bit of a low blow there from Chris. South of the border, as they call it.
And the referee warned him there, Lula Mamcha, experienced referee, telling Chris van Heerden to keep his guards up.
Watch your elbow.
Nice right jab there from van Heerden, the champion. Nice right hand, left hand from Chris van Heerden.
Chris is fighting very, very well, Brian. He's keeping the fight at a distance. And
yeah, he's fighting a good fight, Pete.
And being a tall of the two boxers with a longer reach, it's working perfectly for him.
He's got a tremendous work rate, you know, and that's what wins fights. We say it week in and week out as commentators. You've got to throw punches like this van Heerden's doing. And that's what wins fights.
It closes that round very, very well.
Another good round for
with
van
a
Heerden.
punctuation mark, and definitely wins.
Sebastian Lujan from Argentina.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Brian. Definitely Chris van Heerden winning the first 2 rounds. So it's really up to a good start. And let's see what Lujan does in the 3rd round. He's really putting on the pressure now. The 32-year-old Sebastian Lujan.
That's better from Lujan now.
Yeah, he's really now putting on the heat now on Chris, the heat van Heerden.
Well, Lujan's a better round for Lujan so far here in round 3 in the fight so far. Not winning the round, but he's bombing the body.
And that's what he needs to do, Brian. He needs to come forward and bend that body and see if Chris van Heerden will take it.
Yeah, he needs to close that gap and bang the body. If he's got any chance of winning this IBO welterweight title here tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely up to his work rate. Sebastian Lujan. He's up against the ropes now. Chris van Heerden has trapped him in his own corner, but he is fighting his way out. And that is what's important, Brian. As a boxer, you need to be throwing punches. You need to throw punches. Let your hands go.
No, without a doubt. You know, Chris is not known as a big puncher, but you don't need to be a big puncher to win fights. He's got amazing work rate, and he's in great physical condition. And, you know, young, aspiring and professional fighters look at this Chris van Heerden. That's the kind of condition you need to be in when you get in a professional boxing ring. Bombs the body again.
Yeah, but Lujan is there, Brian. Lujan is right in the face of Chris van Heerden.
Yeah, Lujan's finding a good fight in round 3. He's closing the gap, landing good, crispy, short little combinations on the inside. And that's why he's got to fight. It's much better from Lujan.
Much better from Lujan, Brian. We've got about 30 seconds left in this third round. And Lujan really has given it his all.
Yeah, Chris should keep it a little bit more on the outside. Although he's bombing the body to perfection. Oh, big right hand there from Lujan.
Lujan now is trying to play to the crowd now and say, I am way experienced. Look at me. What are you doing?
Oh, Lujan is clowning with the world champion.
He's clowning with
and did a good job of it. He never got caught too many times.
You're right, he did a good job, Brian, but I don't know if it was enough to win the round. He's already standing. He didn't sit down in the between the rounds during the break. He was already standing up and then punch in the ring. And now there he comes now. Big punches from Lujan. And Chris van Heerden.
Round 4 of this IBO welterweight world title. And can Sebastian Lujan pull it off?
Well, he seems very confident, Brian, and it's coming out. He's continuing to bomb. But Chris van Heerden says, I am not taking a step backward. So it's a battle of attrition right now. Both boxers standing in the middle of the ring and then they're giving it all.
Yeah, round 3 and round 4 so far turned out to be an interesting fight. Round 1 and 2 were a bit dull, although Chris did all the work. Lujan came back nicely in round 3 and made a fight of this.
And now Chris really is pinning him against the ropes.
Oh, Chris has hurt him in the body now. Chris is banging that right hand to the side of the rib. Brilliant body punches from Chris van Heerden.
Those punches must be taking their toll, Brian. Those are hard body punches from Chris van Heerden.
Yeah, those are good body punches. And Lujan's gone back to retreating and fighting off the ropes, which is definitely not going to want him to fight.
Chris is right on top of Lujan, making sure that he denies him any punching room. And I don't know why Lujan really is prepared to stay against the ropes, because he can't do much really being against the rope. He needs to have leverage for his punches. Okay, right now he's in the middle of the ring now. Let's see what he can do.
Chris van Heerden is not missing with that right uppercut. Lujan says, bring it on. We still got a fight on our hands.
Yeah, Lujan.
Good left hooks and right hooks from Lujan.
Yeah, Chris is going to be very careful not to be careless. and give away the round that he was winning so easily. About 40 seconds left in the 4th round.
A little bit of a comeback here from Lujan in round 4. Lost the first 2 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
And in the last minute, he's working his way back.
Yeah, and then he might just steal the round, Brian, if Chris is not careful.
Yeah, he needs to go forward. You know, there's no way he can win the fight going backwards. You know, he's at least 4 or 5 inches shorter than Chris, and he needs to put his head on Chris's chest and bang the body.
And then bang the body, Brian.
And if he wants to try and win this title from Chris van Heerden tonight, because so far Chris is slightly ahead on points.
You should know, Brian, because most of your fights as a junior lightweight, you are shorter than most of your opponents.
Yeah, that's right, Peter. And so, you know, I would know for people, if you're fighting a taller guy, you put your head on his chest and you...
Nashua Super 8 last man standing tournament. But for now, we are going into round number 5. At stake, the IBO Welterweight Championship of the World between the champion Chris van Heerden in the camouflage trunks against Sebastian Lujan in the black and white trunks.
He's a tough guy, Sebastian Lujan. You can see he's been around, only lost 6 times in 48 fights. Moves his head well, like the Argentinians do. Good overhand right from Lujan.
He caught Chris there with an over right hand. And you can see the experience of this man, Brian, coming through.
He's got lots of experience, but he's not landing convincingly.
Yeah, he's putting his head down, Brian, and coming up with those overhead high hands. So Chris really has to be very, very careful. But as we said, Brian, Chris is in tremendous physical condition.
Yeah, Chris van Heerden can throw punches all night, you know, that's how hard he trains. So he'll be in your face.
He's been here before. We've seen him when he was defending his South African welterweight title against Tsapo Mandawi. He's had 2 fights with Tsapo Mandawi. He's beaten him. And for the vacant IBO welterweight title, he beat Kaiser Mabuza.
Big right hand there from Lujan. Well, good round so far from the visitor, the Argentinian. He's found a bit of rhythm and a bit of range.
Even though he's fighting backwards, Brian, I think he's landing most of the punches.
Yeah, it's definitely his best round so far.
But there's still a lot in this round. We have over a minute left now. Can Chris turn it around and win this round?
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for Chris that he's not a heavier-handed welterweight puncher. But I mean, he makes up for it in work rate. There's no doubt about it. Look at that comeback there.
He plays the crowd going, Brian. They think that Chris might be having his man, but let me tell you something about Lujan. He's a very, very experienced boxer. He's tough. Oh,
good right from Lujan. And it could turn out to be a brilliant fight. Round 5, the scheduled 12-round welterweight title fight. And Sebastian Lujan from Argentina is holding his own in this round.
He is, Brian. He's a very, very confident man. He strongly believes that he can win this title, Brian.
Well, he's going to have to do a lot of hard work to win the title. But he's done that in round 5.
Big right hand there from Chris van Heerden. And Lujan says that did not hurt.
Yeah, van Heerden finished the round well. But I would say the Argentinian probably shaded the round.
Yeah, Brian, this is turning out to be one of Chris van Heerden's toughest fights, but we did say that against Lujan, he's going to have his hands full, and so far it has proved to be exactly that. As referee Lulama Mtia signals the start for round number 6.
Well, that's it. We're halfway round stage now, Pete, and it's a good fight. But I would say Sebastian Lujan slightly behind on points.
Yeah, but it's a very, very interesting fight, Brian. Very, very competitive. So we cannot say that Golden Gloves Promotions or IBO bring in
that's
Now you
good
see
work.
fights, it's a very, very good fight. Tough fight.
Don't push.
And both boxers will know after this fight that they have been in a tough fight.
Watch your head, Chris. Watch your head.
Yeah, Chris is in a tough fight here, but he's a tough kid. He comes to fight.
Yeah, and he's been here before, Brian, as you said, against Tepo Mandawi twice and also against Kaiser Mabuza. So he knows what fighting under pressure is all about.
That's right. He's been in the trenches. He's been in a war. The Kaiser Mabuza fight was a war, and he won the war. The Heat won that war, and he can go to war. He's got no problem with that. He's going to war here in round 6. He's Van Heerden putting on the pressure, piling it on.
But now, question for you, Brian. Being the taller of the two boxers, is it really advisable for Chris to be fighting a close fight like that, or he should be keeping his opponent at the end of these punches?
Well, Peter, you know, as much as we say the taller guy should fight on the outside, Chris Van Heerden is a fighter. He's more a fighter than a boxer because he's a guy that is not a big puncher, but has got a great work rate. So he's a come-forward fighter, so it doesn't matter who he fights. If the guy's shorter, taller, it doesn't matter. Chris Van Heerden piles on the pressure. His nickname, the Heat, is the right thing because he piles on, puts on the heat.
And that's exactly what he's doing right now, Chris Van Heerden. Fighting out of the southpaw stance in the camouflage trunks. Defending his IBO welterweight title for the first time against this man from Argentina, Sebastian Lujan.
Well, how do you see this round so far, Peter?
It's a very, very close, another close round, Brian. It depends what happens in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, another good round so far for Lujan. Although, as you say that, he gets into 3 or 4 combinations from Chris.
And then he starts to show protein again now. You know, and as we said, Brian,
well, I'm not sure what Chris Van Heerden did there. He walked to a...
You don't win rounds by proving that your opponent is not hitting you. That's not how you win rounds. You win rounds by throwing punches. So that might just be working against him, Sebastian Lujan.
Don't get killers. Don't get killers.
Round number 7, Brian, and we saw Sebastian Lujan refusing to sit between the rounds. He walks around. Even before the round starts, Brian is already in the ring and calling for Chris to come and fight. Is that a good strategy, Brian, or is it just bad thing?
Well, it depends on the individual, Peter. I mean, I think you should take your rest while you can. You know, you get a 1-minute rest. By the time the chair's in the ring and the chair's out the ring and you're standing and sitting, you probably got about 40, 50 seconds to rest in between every round. I say take every bit of rest you can. But a lot of fighters don't like the stool, they don't like sitting. But definitely I would say grab the rest while you can.
And Sebastian Lujan, we see that he's doing more than that. In fact, what he's doing is he walks around between the breaks.
Well, he's clowning and he's getting away with it. But it's not advisable.
It's not advisable because he might just not be winning the rounds. So he needs to be at least putting a lot of punches.
He's fighting another good round here, Sebastian Lujan.
This are telling you come to be very, very close rounds, Brian. Very, very tough to score. We have 3 judges for this fight. And they will be scoring this fight. Official judges.
This is a good round for Sebastian Lujan.
Isaac Shabalala, Pete Podolski from the USA, and Mark Streisand, both from USA. The South African judge, Isaac Shabalala, is the only one from this part of the world. So we will see how they score this fight. Now Chris Van Heerden now pinning his man against the ropes now, but Lujan still continuing to clown around.
Lujan's clowning, but he's getting nailed in the process. It doesn't help clowning if you're not winning the round.
And he's not winning the round.
Oh, don't push him, don't push him.
He's got good defensive moves as Lujan. You know, he moves his head well side to side. I don't agree with dropping the hands so low, but he does move side to side well. But he's getting out punched here. Chris Van Heerden is throwing more punches and doing the job that a champion should do.
Yeah, definitely with about 10 seconds left in round number 7. Chris Van Heerden must be winning this round.
Yeah, it's definitely all Chris Van Heerden here in round 7.
And push it. Watch your shoulder.
And Sebastian Lujan really giving the round away there. As Sebastian Lujan starts clowning around and not covering his face. And Chris Van Heerden will be very, very happy with that kind of move, because he will continue to punch and win the round. What is important, Brian, here is to win the round. And you win rounds, you win the fight.
Yeah, the guy, you know, as I said, Peter, you got to throw punches and obviously land the punches. Chris is very good at that, at throwing lots and lots of punches. Lands about 70–80% of them, but that's enough to win rounds and win fights convincingly. I mean, to beat guys like Kaiser Mabuza, you got to throw lots of punches.
Hold and push. You're holding and pushing, all right? And do it.
Good work from the world champion, the IBO world champion in the welterweight division, Chris Van Heerden.
Yeah, he knows what he's in for, Brian. He knows that he has to work. He knows that he's up against a very, very good veteran in Sebastian Lujan. And he's not taking anything for granted, Brian. He's working very, very hard, Chris Van Heerden. And at this stage, he should be ahead on points.
Yeah, as I said, the great thing about a guy like Chris, can throw punches the whole night. You know, he's in such great physical condition. I mean, he loves to go to the trenches and have a war and throw punches.
Yeah, he hardly takes a step back, Brian. As you said, he's not called the Heat for nothing.
You know, his defense has improved a lot as well. I must give credit to trainers Peter Smith and Sean Smith. They've done a good job with Chris Van Heerden's defense. He had a bit of a leaky defense in previous fights and a good work rate, but now the defense has improved as well, and that's going to see him win a lot of fights. Good work from Van Heerden as he bombs that body, lefts and right uppercuts. All the hard work and the big punches coming in now from the IBO world champion, Chris Van Heerden.
He's making his opponent, Sebastian Lujan, feel the heat like that. That's big left hand there. But Lujan is a tough customer, Brian.
Yeah, you know, Lujan is clowning Pete, but he's not winning the rounds, and that's not good enough.
He's not winning the round, Brian.
Not good enough for him anyway to take this belt away tonight. Not at this stage.
Chris is really punching very, very well.
Good work there from Van Heerden. Good right hand. Well, round 8 all belongs to Chris Van Heerden as he bombs the left and right uppercuts. In fact, it's right and left uppercuts because he's a southpaw.
And a clear round there for Chris again. Round number 9 coming up. And again, Lujan not taking the full advantage of the break between rounds.
Well, 4 rounds to go, Peter. And the heat is on for Sebastian Lujan.
Both boxers now are really banging away.
And of course, there's already talks about if Chris Van Heerden wins here, that DiBella wants to showcase him in America, on American television, along with Tommy Oosthuizen, our IBO super middleweight champion. Chris Van Heerden will be showcased there as well on Broadway television. DiBella in the United States, should he win here convincingly tonight.
So far, Brian is doing a very, very good job. Round number 9.
Absolutely, he's doing a good job of it, Peter. And he can't wait to fight the United States as well. That's where the big boxing happens. And of course, in South Africa, the big boxing happens right here at Empress Palace. your palace of dreams on your World of Champions Super Sport.
The World of Champions Super Sport, as we watch the IBO champion in the welterweight division, Chris van Heerden, doing a very, very good job here against the Argentinian Sebastian Lujan.
Chris is bombing that body. Well, round 9 belongs to the champion as well. Lujan's going to have to load up if he wants to get back into this fight.
Lujan is still right in front of Chris van Heerden, and this is what Chris really loves doing. He's very happy to have his opponent right in front of him. He doesn't have to go out looking for him.
Tremendous work from Chris van Heerden. Throws a straight right with a left uppercut. And he lands to perfection.
And he's running away with the round again, Brian. He's doing a very, very good job, Chris van Heerden.
Yep, he's running away with the round again. Chris van Heerden in those army-colored shorts, looking the part.
Sebastian Lujan fighting on the back foot, but doing very, very little because Chris van Heerden really just Chris all the way.
Yeah, it's Chris van Heerden, yeah. Oh, lands a nice right hook.
So he's taking the round clearly, Brian.
Sebastian Lujan basically wastes energy, Peter. He moves a lot, he moves pretty well, but he's wasting energy because he's not throwing the punches after the... Well, once again, of course, Sebastian Lujan never took a seat. He hasn't sat on a stool once in the whole fight. As I said, Peter, he's not a bad fighter, Sebastian, but he wastes a lot of energy because the whole idea about the fight game is to make a guy miss, and then you make him pay when he misses. That's the whole idea. Slip and hit, slip and hit. He slips, but he doesn't hit.
He doesn't hit, but now he seems to be trying to do that, but maybe he's listening to you. Because now he's slipping.
Yeah, he must have heard me. But, I mean, he's taken 10 rounds to do it.
Sebastian Lujan falling right into the trap of Chris van Heerden, fighting Chris van Heerden's fight, which is ready, as you said, Brian, taking it to the trenches.
Yeah, no, he's digging deep now, Chris, in his later rounds, which we know he does well. Bombing that body. Sebastian Lujan at this stage almost needs a knockout to be in the fight.
This has been a very, very good fight, very, very competitive. We haven't had a knockdown. And referee Lulamamta doing very, very little, really, because the boxers really are doing their job. He's just watching them closely, but there's no need for the referee really to be doing anything. And because it's a very, very good fight, and I think really this is good for boxing, Brian.
Yeah, it's very good for boxing. It's good to see two guys get in the ring in great shape. And I mean, Lujan, although he's not throwing enough punches to win the rounds, has come to fight. He hasn't come to fall over.
Both boxers are having some successes. But again here, the busier of the two boxers, Chris van Heerden, has to be cruising to another win.
Yeah, that work rate of his is just superior.
Okay, break some up.
Nice right uppercut. Bangs it right to the body. Sebastian Lujan says, nah, you're not hurting me. But it doesn't matter. He's still winning the rounds.
Exactly, because Chris is piling up the points. And he's again winning this round. 10 seconds to go. Chris takes the round again with Sebastian Lujan choking around.
Well, there we see it again. Sebastian Lujan walks around, wastes energy, doesn't take that break. I'm not sure why they do that, but that's the way they operate.
Yeah, for an experienced corner like that, Brian, with somebody with 49 professional fights, I don't know why really they're not taking full advantage of the break between rounds.
Especially in another country to start with, Peter, you're at high altitude here, and not taking a break, I wouldn't advise that. But I mean, it's all Chris van Heerden with that work rate. That's so superior here tonight. As we're in the penultimate round.
It's a good work rate, Brian, and also landing very, very good punches. He's taking a little bit of a break now. Letting Lujan come straight to him.
Stop. And push, Chris, and push. The holding Chris.
Oh, round 11's not the most entertaining round. Bit of wrestling and pushing and shoving going on.
Forcing Rory Lujan to come in between the two boxers to separate them. Good left hand there from Chris van Heerden.
Right at the back of the head, Chris, watch out. Watch the back of the head, baby.
Chris van Heerden controlling round 11 as well. And he's on his way to defending that IBO welterweight title there tonight.
And the crowd really comes to their feet. Because they had a feeling that Lujan was hurt. But Lujan says, I was not hurt. And you can see the way he's fighting, he's coming forward.
Yeah, Lujan fights in flurries, you know, he throws a few great punches for 3 or 4 seconds and then he does nothing for half a minute. So that's just not good enough to win him the rounds.
He's fighting in spurts, and that's not how to win rounds.
And small spurts as well, Peter, you know, he does it for such little time.
He's clowning around again. And as we said, Brian, you can clown for as long as you want, but if you're not landing punches, you will not win the rounds.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we said, you know, he can slip punches. He moves his head very well. But you've got to do what he's doing right now. As you move the head, throw the punches.
Now, Chris finishing very, very strong and ready to make sure that he backs that round. And definitely the round's going to Chris van Heerden.
Let's go, baby.
Well, there you see my unofficial scorecard. 109, 102, 7 points clear for Chris van Heerden. But once again, that's unofficial. I'm not a judge.
12 and 4 round that.
But I think I've got it pretty close, Pete.
Yeah, Sebastian Lujan is going to come out strong, but Chris is not going to allow him to try to finish very, very strong. Watch Chris coming up very, very strong himself, but as we said, he's in tremendous condition. He can fight for another 12 rounds.
Hold on, come on. Let's go, come on. Watch your elbows.
As I said, Brian, you can see Lujan is trying to come very, very strongly, but Chris is not going to allow him, Brian.
Yeah, he's run out of time, Pete. There's, the only reality he's got of winning this fight is by knockout now. Sebastian Lujan from Argentina, but it doesn't look like he's going to do that. Chris is a hard-working fighter. Throws lots of punches.
As you said, Brian, he might not have a big punch, but he makes it up with a lot of punches, a barrage of punches, Brian.
Yeah, look, you're always going to be entertained by Chris van Heerden. You know, look at that work rate. I mean, he bombs the body. You know, he doesn't have to be a big puncher to win fights. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing.
It has been a very, very interesting fight so far. As we said, no knockdowns. Both boxers coming in tremendous condition and fighting their way out, as we can see in this round. Sebastian Lujan in the black and white trunks from Argentina.
Yeah, nice work from Chris van Heerden. Sebastian Lujan, he's throwing a few punches in round 12, but not effective, nothing to do damage. Well, there we hear the crowd, go Chris, go. Go Chris, go. And of course, he's doing exactly that.
He's doing exactly that, trying to finish very, very strongly. I don't think he's got any doubt that he's won the fight, but he wants to prove that he can even finish strong.
Last 30 seconds to go, and it's all across the Heat van Heerden. Looking very good in defense of his first defense of his IBO Welterweight Championship, as he bombs the body there against Sebastian Lujan.
Big punches there coming from Chris van Heerden. I told you, Brian, that he'll want to finish very, very strong, and then look at him.
That's a good victory for Chris van Heerden.
Very, very good victory for Chris van Heerden.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards at the end of 12 championship rounds of boxing for the IBO Welterweight Championship of the World. All three judges scored the fight unanimously. Judge Pete Podgorski from Chicago, Illinois in the United States, and Judge Isaac Chabalala from Bishu, South Africa, or even Cape Town, South Africa, scored the fight 120-108. And Judge Mark Streisand from Highland Beach in Florida scored the fight 119-109. All in favor of the winner. And still the IBO Welterweight Champion of the World, Chris "The Heat" van Heerden.
Very, very interesting scorecards there on two of the judges' scorecards. Chris van Heerden winning each and every round.